First off, Shams dunks on Woj at the beginning of that, where he basically says bullshit, right? He says what I think a lot of us said, that of course Kevin Durant's frustrated because they're losing. And that's part of what comes along with it, is everybody gets frustrated in the situation that they found themselves in at 14 and 15 and in a play or outside of the play-in looking in by Christmas time. Like I get why he'd be frustrated. So it's good to hear Shams kind of put some of that Woj stuff to bed.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's frustrated. We're frustrated. The fans are frustrated. It's not a shock that basketball players, when they're not winning, get frustrated. And if they're going to play like they did last night, stay the fuck frustrated. Because I liked what they did last night. So we talked about this ad nauseum. The Woj thing, I think, was way over the top. I think Shams kind of calmed the water a little bit. And he's right on the money about Brad Beal. Listen, I was having conversations on Christmas Eve that Brad was itching to get back. And I will say this, I don't even think it's his ankle. When it comes to Brad Beal, I think they're just being more cautious with the back because they don't want him to overcompensate on the ankle and cause some type of dysfunction or imbalance in the back. I'm told he's doing great. I really think Brad Beal is going to play on Sunday versus Orlando. Tomorrow's not out of the question, but I do think he's very close, and we're about to hopefully, knock on wood, see this full collection of players very soon.
I'm just so happy we can stop talking about this.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Said player frustrated because team is losing more than he thought they would. Okay. And
shocking.
It's not breaking news, but what he did was, because of that, he basically tried to set up Kevin Durant for failure.
Yeah.
And then all the people and their 2 cents talking about, oh, you got to trade him. He's not happy again. He wants to move on. This is a common theme, blah, 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 blah. Like, again, every player was frustrated. It wasn't just KD. Book was frustrated. Hell, Beal's frustrated because he can't get on the court.
Right.
You think he's not frustrated? Hell, when he twisted his ankle, he was as pissed off as any of us were. Like, just stop with this nonsensical bullshit, Woj.
I love it.
Man.
Get him, dog. I love it. Yeah, it's bullshit. It really is. And like you said, it causes people to attack Kevin.
Yes.
And it's unfair. Like, the dude is out there averaging 30.6 assists and 5 rebounds for the season. And somehow, because he's frustrated about them being 500, it becomes KD wants out. Like, I don't want to hear that shit no more. KD doesn't want out. He just wants to win and play good basketball.
You don't think KD doesn't want to be part of the solution rather than the problem?
Right.
Like, it's just BS. It's an agenda.
And if KD wanted out, it would have been, reports say KD wants out of Phoenix. Him being unhappy was not breaking news. It wasn't anything. But let's be honest and pull back the curtain. In media, what happens sometimes is the fact that, they had the Suns on at 8:30, right? That night. It was probably, and we talked about this on Christmas, the least interesting of their Christmas Day slate. So how do you build some buzz? By having kind of a generic report that didn't really... that could be interpreted as KD wants out of Phoenix. So now there's drama around it. There's intrigue. How do you generate some buzz around it? By doing that. And it did. All Christmas afternoon and evening, all you heard was KD this, KD that. Are the Suns imploding from the inside? And so I think that's part of it as well. I'm not saying Woj made anything up, but they made a very strategic decision as to why they said that in the middle of their Christmas Day games leading into a Suns game that evening.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but that's also on how we choose to interpret what's being reported by these people, because everything has to be semi-cryptic to an extent, right? Like, you can't just come out and straight up be like, this person told me exactly this. That's not how this game works. We all know that. But it's up to us on how we want to interpret things. Do we want to say, yeah, well, no shit, he's frustrated. This team sucks right now. Of course they're feeling some type of way. Or do we just say, oh, frustration, that's cause for concern. That means he wants out because he did it before, so he's going to do it again. That's on how we want to consume media as well. And I'm not talking about us individually or specifically, just as a whole. You can take something and you can run one way with it, or you can run the opposite direction. And both technically you can create an argument for.
To an extent, but I think it was in the phrasing the way Woj said it as well, because Shams said basically the same thing, but made it very clear that KD was just frustrated with losing and that there was nothing more to it. In the way Woj put it out there, it was, well, rumblings within the Phoenix organization, and I think he even used the word surprised maybe by his frustration. Like, you can word things in ways that drive people a certain direction with things. Now, did certain people online go way far out the bounds? Of course, because that's the way it happens. And some people, in the business looking for attention, start throwing out, things that spin out of control. But I think the way Woj worded it, there was intentional room for interpretation.